It's Halloween, and that means it's time for Saw 4. This is the Bro 4 Squad podcast, where we're just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies. As is tradition, I'm the mayor, Jeff Hornacek, joined by our legal counsel, Ronnie Cycli, to continue doing our movie commentaries on all of the Saw movies. And as we mentioned, this is Saw 4. So, Ronnie, before we dive in, our movies are at the 17-second mark. Lionsgate is on the screen with the orange background, so get your DVD, Blu-ray. I rented it on Amazon. Get synced up with us. And while you get there, Ronnie, Jigsaw and Amanda are dead, so this should be quick, in and out. Just do the autopsy and we're done, right? Should that be?
Yeah, it's going to be a nice little video. It's an instructional video they actually give to med school students on how to perform autopsies. So I'm excited about that to learn, because I've obviously never been involved in the medical industry. So I'm just happy to be here.
What if it was just like an 8-minute? They do the autopsy, like, well, ship shape. Thank you guys for coming in. Students of Johns Hopkins University, and then they like go back to school. Like, I actually wouldn't even be mad. I'd be like, that's such a creep.
You earned my $7 because I learned a lot.
Call your wife, honey, the movie's out. She's like, it's been 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm as surprised as you.
But I have a lot of med school credits now, so that's great.
I think I might. Yeah, this might be good enough for a 3-hour course. All right, we are going to press play on Saw 4 in 3, 2, 1, play.
So I was about to just start talking there about, one, this is crazy to me that we're already in our 4th year of doing this.
Yeah. We did in New Jersey, remember? You had visited.
That's right. Me. Hoboken. Where are you at?
No joking. So I'm assuming everyone listening to this, watching the movie, obviously we're going to spoil it because you've hopefully seen it before. But as far as
if you're starting at Saw 4 for some reason, then I would love to have a conversation with you.
Actually, yeah, please reach out to us. I have so many questions. What led you? How do you make other decisions in your life? But as far as twists go, you and I were kind of at the point where we're like, all right, we're looking for the twist. Is this guy someone else, or timeline wise? This one was, I think, for the first time since the second one caught me by surprise, but this one is, in terms of like shock factor in the theater, was probably the most comparable to the original for me.
But what I love about this one, I think we're going to get into a lot, is we walked into this one after the third one. I think we acknowledged on the last commentary that we didn't live up to as the surprise of the first and second one. The third one did have a little disappointment to us. And we were wondering, obviously they killed Jigsaw. We got a little dick there. There we go. And we didn't know where they were going to go with this. We thought maybe it was ending as a trilogy. It kind of felt like it was a lackluster ending. But when they announced Saw 4, we're like, okay, what the hell are they going to do? They're just going to have someone else be Saw. That doesn't sound interesting enough. And I remember you and I walking out of the movie and being like, oh my God, I did not see any of this coming. They redeemed everything. This movie made Saw 3 even better. And it was a unique perspective, because not a lot of sequels, and especially one 4 movies deep, can do what this movie did.
Well, so Saw 3 ends with Jeff taking like the circular saw to Jigsaw's throat. And I remember you and I, like, we knew, I think this movie was greenlit even before Saw 3 was released. Actually, I'm almost 100% sure of that. So we knew we were getting another one, and I remember the internet at the time, like movie chat forums were not near what they are today. But I remember people talking about like ways that Jigsaw could have survived having his throat slit like that. And of course, you
God.
And I were like, some of them were like, this is insane, but we didn't know if they were just going to steer into no, he's no longer around. And actually, one of my Horn's fun facts, this is according to IMDb, this scene, the autopsy scene, was actually supposed to take place at the end of Saw 3.
Oh, interesting.
But it almost
is a better
work. I agree. And if it was going to be in Saw 3, it would have had to be like a post-credit stinger, because Jeff and I can't remember, what's his wife's name, the surgeon who gets kidnapped.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember her name. But that reveal is like, even though it's not like mind-blowing, it would have been like a hat on a hat to put this at the end of that. Darren Lynn Bousman, the director, said that they wanted a credit
scene, but they probably want.
Sorry, I think we cut each other off. I was going to say, Darren Lynn Bousman, the director of this movie, wanted the autopsy scene here to be extremely graphic, to sort of separate this from like the LAPD or like NYPD Blue shows that you see where they have like an autopsy and they're like, he died of asphyxiation. He wanted it to be like really graphic.
Well, exactly, and I just want to say, this I love that because they left it off where like, okay, then you had the people writing on those message boards, is he still alive? And somehow, and you worry about a horror franchise especially going this deep, and do they go supernatural? They go to paranormal. Oh, he had a twin brother. Like, get to the ridiculousness, and we know Saw is a little ridiculous, but that's what makes this one so great. So, right at the start, they're like, no, he is dead, and here we are going to show you his literal organs.
He cuts open the stomach. He's like, I think I want chili for lunch.
How could you do this for a living?
I mean, get
honestly.
it. Like, you would just be so desensitized. There's an intern just throwing up in the background. He's like, it's not worth college credits.
Why did I sign up? This is volunteer. I'm not even getting paid for this.
What if this is like an 8-track tape and they're like, thanks, Jigsaw. Now all we need to listen to this is a fucking time machine.
It's just Tom Jones for some reason. He's like, hello, this is my favorite musician.
Yeah, what if the message is really just him like, look, there's just some things I need to talk about. First off, jazz is not dead. What? When do we get to like the murdering?
This is also, I mean, again, I remember, I think you were right where they said they had greenlit the 4. I mean, the fact that they continued this 3/4 movies, technically, the 7 was supposed to be the last one, but they obviously continued with their main character being dead. And yeah, Saw drops off a little bit, but they still did it to a decent amount of perfection of having a dead main character 3 movies in and still 5 movies later.
They did I mean, The Apprentice, like in Hoffman, obviously is a great device to keep it going, but they did an incredible job of keeping Tobin Bell and Jigsaw somehow involved in the franchise. And even like the lowest, I think for me, the low point of this is it Saw 6, where it's basically like the insurance PSA.
I think it's Saw 5 actually.
Okay.
It might be 6. I can't remember. No,
5 is where 5 become 1. I actually love Saw 5.
Mm-hmm,
That's a good one for next year. But yeah, 6 was the only one where I was really like, could do without this.
It was a little, he like almost at one point breaks the fourth wall and stares right at the camera and says, fucking health insurance companies. I'm like, I agree, Jigsaw, but is this the best approach?
This guy right here, definitely Cleveland Browns fan, definitely been in the dog pound at some games. He's like, stitch my eyes shut if I have to watch fucking Tim Couch start another game for my team.
I was going to say you'd be thankful for this moment. Who would you rather be here?
I'd rather be able to see. If you wake up and don't know where you are and you can't see, that's going to be tough.
Ugh.
Both are great. Now, are we, based on like future involvement, are we just to assume, with what we know now, that Dr. Gordon probably did these surgeries?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's how I understood it. Because they had to have someone with precision, right?
I would imagine.
And I think that was a big reveal. Obviously, we spent 7 movies getting to.
If we really want to make it biblical, there should be a third guy with his ears sewn shut. And he's like, well, this isn't really affecting me.
I can still shout. I don't know if you're responding, but
I guess I haven't been like, I can actually still kind of hear you guys, if we're being honest. I don't want to make you feel less bad about your situation.
Oh, him trying to open his mouth just makes me cringe. And again, no matter how good or bad these movies are, you just have to give props to the creativity. I think we say that every time, but how are you in a room where you're like, hey, what's the craziest way to kill someone? Like,
I like to think
who doesn't have that conversation
when he puts these traps together, that he has like his whole creative marketing team for Jigsaw come in and we have a pitch meeting.
Yeah, you can't just have one opinion.
No. That's how dictators rule, and we don't get the best ideas when that's how things work.
Do you think the intern who brings coffee to the meeting is like, oh, I have an idea, but he's too nervous to speak up?
Yeah, but finally he's like, Greg, why don't you voice your opinion? He's like, oh, I don't know.
I think everyone's right.
He's like, what if this fall the theme is, and bear with me, vegan. All of our traps are green. Oh, I don't know
It's
about
better
that.
for the environment.
It's 2005. I don't think people are gonna fucking understand what they're talking about there.
Did it take play, by the way, in this one? Did I
I
miss that?
I didn't have any subtitles. Now that I think about it, though, my subtitles have not been okay. Get
I
off.
did the same thing.
Came up. This is one of the rare traps, very very rare traps. It looks like it's taking place during the day. And are we at what is this like a morgue? Like are those bodies that would fit in
That's
that?
what it looks like. Yep.
Okay.
How does he even get in there? In my opinion.
He's got to have a lot. If you're Jigsaw, man, your Christmas card list, you got to, because you need a lot of favors. Oh, his mouth.
Oh.
Is it gross?
Ugh.
Saw 4.
Wait.
I remember thinking.
Why did he just do that? He waited to kill the guy before he opened his mouth.
Symbolism. One thing you can say about the Saw movies, they've had a lot of different directors. This is one that actually this is the first one, Lee Wanell, who played Adam and wrote and co-directed the first one. This is the first one he had no involvement with. But they all have a very, very similar color palette. Like this lighting right here.
Yeah. Which is interesting to me that this was the first one he wasn't involved in, and considering the connection, how we've said this multiple times, 3 and 4 are the same movie.
Right. And that's why this makes 3 better, like you said.
And that's why it's shocking to me about there was a disconnect in terms of the involvement of producers and writers. And I mean, maybe they had the plan storyboarded, but it's impressive that they were able to keep that continuity here.
I do like too how the Saw movies, so much of them are told from the police's point of view, because it helps us feel the twist. Because like the whole really one thing you can say about the cops, for the most part, they don't do like really stupid shit. Like when they were storming the building in Saw 2, I was like, I would do everything the same way you guys did, and they still,
Which is a compliment to Jigsaw, because he really, I mean, it shows that because he's not just a killer. He's obviously brilliant. He's an engineer, but he studied their practices. He studied their, what they do culturally. And so that's how he was able to anticipate every single movement. And it doesn't make it an unrealistic horror movie in that sense. It's like saying, no, this is what they're going to do 99% of the time, so I'm going to be prepared for that.
Like when he had Donnie Wahlberg there, he was like, Yankees are better than the Red Sox. And of course he just freaks out and fucking kills him.
He just knows what kind of reaction is going to be.
David Ortiz is overrated. You motherfucker! And starts beating the shit out of him relentlessly.
Now this I did not see. I mean, they kind of, and maybe this had to do with your point earlier about removing the, original producers and writers. They just, I mean, she was a main character in the third one, and she doesn't get any screen time here.
Yeah, so this is kind of the first hint that this is happening concurrent to Saw 3.
Yeah.
Because remember, Amanda like puts her in the trap in like the first probably 15 minutes where her ribs get ripped out. Now, granted, there's rats here, but them finding her, like the movies, if you were to play them side by side, I'm imagining the run times are pretty close too. Like these events are probably happening close to the same point,
How amazing would it be? I mean, if you literally could start 3 and 4 at the exact same time, and they meet at the exact same time, and they I don't think that's happened, but imagine if they had done that.
I can almost guarantee you someone out there has made an edit where they probably splice the 2 scenes in intercutting. I mean, it takes away the twist if you watch it that way, but it's just kind of genius. Speaking of the twist, so Darren Lynn Bousman is the director. Bousman, nice, I'll drink to that. According to IMDb, he was originally not in. So he had produced like not the first one, but I think the next 2. So he was involved with them. And he was originally not interested in directing the 4th installment, but producers persuaded him to read the script anyway. Bousman decided to take directorial duties when a plot twist in the script took him completely by surprise, something he thought impossible after being involved in the Saw series for 3 years.
So it had to be the timeline, right?
I have to imagine at the end he's like, because I think, and again, these are made so quick that like for them to actually take like any sort of fan sentiment into like consideration for writing the next one is really, really hard. But I wonder if the third one, they were like, all right, people were a little underwhelmed with that twist, so let's have this one directly connect to it.
But that's what's so hard because, and this, when you're producing movies, pre-production, these are coming out a year at a time.
Yep.
Pre-production is already happening, if not filming.
Oh, they're basically, yeah, they're like filming by the time the previous one is released.
Which is crazy to me to say, maybe maybe there were some adjustments in terms of the reaction to Saw 3, but for the most part it feels like you have to be so prepared. And I mean, the fact that they kept it going for 7 movies made it feel like maybe they just didn't care what the fans was going to say, because they knew they were going to make plenty of money off these movies, because these were low budget, let's be honest. Especially the first one.
As Agent Strom, love him. He's of course in Little Big League. He's the pitcher who, we've done a little Big League commentary where his excuse for not trying is that he's a free agent at the end of the year. I'm like, so you don't want to get paid? I actually had a fun fact. Let me find it. To your point, Cycly, about production for this movie. All the Saw movies are made like so expeditiously. It's like unbelievable. But I had the exact timeline of how long this one took to make. I don't want to misquote it, though. It was filmed in 32 days, according to IMDb.
That's unreal.
I think the first one even had a shorter. I want to say the first one was like 18 days.
When you watch movies like this, again, no one's sitting here telling you it's a Academy Award movie, or because this movie definitely lacks in the acting category. All of them do, but to entertain us, and we always say this, we will pay. This is worth the $7 or $5 back when we used to go to the theater, and to do this in 32 days. And I've watched movies that were filmed in less that I enjoy. And then you watch these movies that take 2 years to produce and hundreds of millions of dollars, and you walk up and be like, that was dog shit. Like, what the hell were they doing?
Okay, Avatar 2, by the time it comes out, if it ever does, if you find this in a time capsule in 2044 and it still hasn't come out, and James Cameron's like, I'm close.
There's going to be 5 of them, though.
They're all coming out like in the same weekend. That movie's taken like 7 years to come out, and it could, I'm not saying like, obviously it'll have visuals that blow your mind, but like narrative, story-wise, like this is fine, man. This scratches all the itches for me.
Exactly. That's why what somebody say, less is more, right? Like, you don't need to go into everything as big as possible to give an audience or a reader something that is entertaining and that keeps them wanting more. And like I said, the first Saw movie is, consensusly, I think everyone always talks about how amazing it is. I mean, was that even $1 million? I really don't even know how much it was. I just know it was one of the biggest percentage gross, made movies ever because of how low budget it was.
Right. The crazy thing about Saw, especially if you're a cop, like so they're all very obsessive. It's a little bit too stereotypical, to be honest. But when you go home, bro, you are never fucking safe. Like, the odds of someone being in your closet with a pig mask are very, very high.
No, thanks. That's always both of us. The pig mask is the worst. I think there's still a big difference, even though I'd say this did redeem the third one. Story-wise, not twist, not taking into consideration the twist, because the twist is so much of what Saw is. I enjoyed this story more so than the third one, in terms of his obsession with solving crime. It was destroying his family. Whereas the third one, I just never felt like he was just this angry drunk dad who abandoned his family because his son had died. I don't know. I related to this story a little more in terms of just, you could see his inner struggle, and maybe he was just a better actor. But I just enjoyed this aspect of it.
Lariq Ben as Rig is awesome. He's kind of been in the background for a while, so I'm glad he got his play here. And it's interesting, too, because he's like, dude, like he was talking about Matthews, like, he's missing. Detective Russell's dead. Like, I'm the last fucking domino standing. And I ain't no bitch.
And again, that's what we feel at the end of this one. Like, okay, well, who's next in Saw 5?
This is the first one that we really get, like, Kramer's backstory, because that's what Strom is, like, digging up, right? Obviously, like,
yeah.
Jill Tuck here, played by Betsy Russell, who's awesome in these movies.
And this is the one we finally find out about her, the loss of the baby.
The Cecil arc.
Yeah. I believe that's this movie, right?
Yeah, I know Cecil is in this movie because there's a scene where Jigsaw like chases him through some street parade, and the theme of the parade is like the year of the pig.
Oh,
and that's
yeah,
part
and that's
of
where it starts. Yeah, no, I think that's, again, this movie was, Saw 3 didn't have that dynamic. Didn't give us the background. Where Saw 1 and 2 were just intriguing on their own merit. And Saw 3 was so focused on one individual, it just didn't carry the weight. Where this one, now we learn more about who are evil. Yeah.
Okay, so right there, she asked Hoffman, "Boy, do you have a boy or girl?" And he's like, "Girl," but he's really bringing that stuffed animal to Jeff's daughter, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Remember, she's like locked in the fridge, whatever.
Yep. But we still feel like this is later.
Someone walks in your house, dude.
That's what I look like when I sleep, by the way. I'm just that ripped.
When I lay down, I have a six-pack and pectorals, but any other time. So, like, if you see me in the dark asleep, then...
Yeah, it sucks. Like, anytime I stand up or put clothes on, it doesn't look like that. But when I'm alone...
we're in the theater where, like, we know what's happening. Like, I'm already shitting my pants.
Why does everyone look... What I do is I go lock my bedroom door, and I would put my mattress against it or something. I'm like, I'm not going out there.
So is this, and again, I know they'll explain at the end, but is this Hoffman right now?
I think it has to be.
Because Amanda gets Lynn. She kidnaps Lynn Denlin, right, from the hospital.
Yeah, and I think it's something to do with Amanda, wouldn't have the strength to take him on just in case something happened.
Yeah, I mean, look at those traps. Like, no one can. He could pick up the fucking house if he wanted to. Ugh.
It was like slow and casual. Oh, yep. No.
Well, I mean, they're refinishing the house, so hopefully he didn't fuck anything up when he was...
I always feel like refinishing the house makes it more scary, too. You're just like, have to have that aspect thrown on.
Dude,
you can't just have a normal house.
Now that I know the twist, there's a lot of hints. Like, right there, Hoffman was clearly in the lair where he kidnaps Lynn with the pig mask behind him. But they play this off like he's just investigating the case. Or like he's calling Rig.
But, I mean, even in the sense of everything we're watching right now, you still feel like this is just a continuation story. And that's what I respect about it. You can watch this movie in two ways and just like on its own, it has a good twist and, he has an intriguing storyline. But the fact that, this is happening to Jeff literally at the same exact time.
Yeah.
And they're both like individual stories in the sense of like they're both going through their own shit. But yeah.
I think I read in my fun facts, my phone is 4 inches from my hand, so I'm not going to look it up. But Rig is the first person in a Jigsaw trap that actually could just walk away if he wanted. Which is
beautiful because
but he knows
it goes back to
because he's so obsessed with the case,
That's the predictability of Saw. I mean, it goes back to everything we say about the Saw movies. If you just do what he says, literally, you'll be fine.
Yeah, but it's like the people he gets, they're their own worst enemies, so they can't fucking do that.
I get it.
Is case in point.
Why would you ever trust someone who is kidnapping you or torturing you or playing games with you? You wouldn't. But I just love that aspect of that. He's like, no, hey, you don't want me to kill you? Oh, hey, your son is in a safe place. Just talk to me for 12 hours.
Let me find my fun fact about Donnie Wahlberg, because he was in this movie. Okay, though producers wanted Donnie Wahlberg to reprise his role, his schedule made him unavailable, and his character was not included in the original script. However, after shooting began, his schedule freed up, and the script was rewritten to include his character.
Oh, interesting.
So I think he had a bigger role
what they were originally
than no
do.
role. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too.
Would they have maybe just made another of his partners, maybe that character?
So I know in Saw 2, like Rig, Larique Bent, the guy we're looking at right now, he's on that SWAT team with him that invade the warehouse. So is Detective Russell, who got her ribs ripped out. So yeah, they could have gone like a lot of different ways. With this trap, look, I know we always debate which is the most painful. Having your hair like in whole, like, okay, plucking one hair out obviously doesn't matter, but every single one of these chicks' hairs is like on this crank right here.
Dude, I can tell you right now, like, my wife likes to pluck my eyebrows, and she will tell you how much of a wimp I am. just like plucking one eyebrow out of my head. And I always tell her, look, if I'm drunk, you can do it because I can handle it a little more. I can't. Yeah, you're exactly right. This would be horrible. This would be horrifying. If I can't handle that.
I think Jigsaw got this chick though from Dollar Beer Night at the Copper Penny, so she might be like, yeah, fuck it.
I'm into wild stuff.
Is this chick like a prostitute that he put away or something?
Yeah,
are they all subtitles on, but I'm not really paying attention to them.
See, I don't feel like she deserves to die. That'd be really funny if she was wearing a wig the whole time and Jigsaw had no idea. And it just like falls straight off.
But she's so committed to being a blonde. She's like, no, this is real.
It's real, I swear.
He's like, no, but you will die. I don't, it's in my natural color, so I honestly don't know what to tell you. Okay, well, you're going to die. Are you getting like
I'm surprised they didn't get Paris Hilton. Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nicole Richie.
This is the type of movie Paris Hilton would have done, though.
Dude, in a weird way, though, I could see Paris being like, I'm above that. We're like, but Paris, but you're not, though.
I'm going to do that Wax House movie. Is that what she did, that one movie? Was it Wax House?
House of Wax. Come on,
House
dude.
of
She's
Wax.
an artist. Jesus.
How silly does Wax House sound? I'm sorry. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, that movie sounds stupid.
House of Wax, much better.
Did he get that gun out of the
drawer? No.
Jigsaw let him have it?
I think Jigsaw let him have it. I don't know. There's so many of these traps that I really don't know which one is the worst to me. And that's a compliment to the creative writers, honestly.
One, maybe around, as we're recording this, guys, it is like early summer. So even though we're dropping this at Halloween, gross.
Nope. Mm-mm. Ugh.
Oh, a number. Yeah, there's always like a code on it. So hang on. As your head gets ripped in half, I just need to see, is this a 6 or a 9? But
wait, is it my perspective? Is it?
There's so many ways I could go with this. 6-4. He wants me to play the 64.
Oh, God. I'm holding my head right now, honestly.
It's painful. But I was going to say, we should do an episode where we rank like our Jigsaw traps.
Holy shit. I guarantee you, yeah, we could find a list of all of them.
But I want our list, the correct list.
Oh, no, I'm saying, like, find the list of what they all are.
Yeah.
Make it, yeah. Oh, yeah, she attacks him.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because her thing says, like, you're racist. Remember?
Yeah, like, she has to kill him.
Yeah, he told her there was, like, a knife in the...
Oh, my God.
Why is that already blood? He's like, okay, I didn't have time to wash...
I didn't know I was having guests over. Yeah,
he's like, I'm confused. Didn't I just save your life? Now, what would does she have like the bullet collar on? Like, what would happen if she didn't try to kill him?
I think she was just. Hold on. Yeah, I don't remember at all why she's trying to kill him.
He's like, look, I hate to do this, but like, if you know a guy can't hit the.
Does she think he did this to her? Oh, God.
I feel like she had a tape, I thought. I think I'm like 10 seconds ahead of you.
Oh, okay. I hope I don't have the special director's cut again.
Actually, well, when I was renting this, there was a director's cut that was 3 minutes longer. I was like, God, that's the one cycle he has. I know it.
Where are you at right now?
He just found the G on her knife. And now he's listening to her tape, and it's like...
Okay, yeah. Okay, you're still like... Yeah.
That is the knife.
If you don't understand, we were watching Independence Day, and I found out that Horns was about 8 minutes ahead of me at one random point, and I realized I had the director's cut, and he did not.
Cycly is a bit of a cinephile / movie snob, and of course has the Independence Day director's cut. Where Roland
Standards
really dives into.
I will pay the $2 extra.
Roland, what's your process here? Well, really, I was just thinking, let me blow shit up as much shit.
All right, what are you seeing now?
Really well lit, like green light behind Hoffman. Now it's him and Matthews.
Okay.
The ice block is melting.
Definitely in the same scene is what I can say.
He's got the boot on,
Yep.
obviously, from when he destroyed his foot to get out of the chains.
Ugh.
Hoffman has his
Did
white
you already have the?
panties in his mouth. That's not even part of the trap. He just showed up like that.
Have you seen the background, like where they show back the last movie?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm
No, I'm ahead of you.
Hoffman looks like he's been like drinking for 11 straight months. Yeah, now it's him. Walking
Okay,
through
now you're in
hall.
the back. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, and
all right, we're good now.
Amanda, again, like, I know some people might be like, oh, that's a cheap shot. But if a guy can't hit the inside fastball, that's where you got to throw it.
Look, who wrote the rules on cheap shots? Hey, man, let's gonna fight, and I want to punch you as hard in the face as I can. But dude, hey, don't hit me in the nuts.
Yeah,
like, come on,
probably
man.
got
No,
a lot of
I want to
weaknesses.
fight. If I'm gonna fight you, I'm gonna do whatever it takes.
Everyone jumps out. Surprise, Detective Matthews. Like, what the fuck kind of party?
This is your birthday.
You weren't expecting it, though. No, but you actually broke my leg.
I mean, which would be very much if you haven't seen the movie The Game. That's very much what happens.
That's true.
In that
It
movie.
does get pretty intense. Once a week, he gets Popeyes, but no biscuits.
Oh my god, it's not even worth it.
Yeah, he's like, just kill me now, man. You think I like their fries? This is kind of sadly the story of the cops when they're chasing Jigsaw. They're always like one step behind.
But they always think they're on time. They're like, oh, we got this.
Jigsaw has to have like a Walgreens or CVS membership card. He gets so many photos developed.
What if that's what broke the case? Was like some CVS guy's like, hey, this guy literally comes in every day with pictures of random people, and they all end up dead on the news. I see them 2 weeks later.
Yeah,
So I feel like suspicious.
He was asking me how to get the USB to work on the printer, and he's so old he couldn't figure it out. So I've been helping him, but he's definitely murdering these people.
I think that's the biggest thing is Jigsaw's an old person who can somehow figure out technology.
Well, he's got Amanda. She's probably like, click on options.
Preferences. Left click.
Yeah, left. So there's 2 clicks on the mouse, right? Oh.
Oh man, that's been so real throughout the time of COVID with my parents. Is just trying to help them with every app.
When I do Skype with my mom, it's like her screen freezes I don't know.
I had to help my mom do Zoom with the client of hers in Spain, so that was fun.
Yeah, Zoom. I don't know. That's a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
Blacklight. What if there's like semen all on the wall? They're like, also, why does Rig have cum on the ceiling?
Like, is it semen? Is it blood? Is it urine? Like, I kind of hope it's urine at this point.
Strama's like, that's definitely semen. Like, well, how do you know that? I just
He like
call it a hunch.
Taste it. I know that smell. I smell that smell every day. What?
Vince Vaughn has a line in The Watch where they find like this alien goo and he's like squishing it in his fingers. He goes, it's not cum, but it's definitely cum-like.
I remember that.
The cum-like substance.
By the way, I'm going to give props to Jigsaw for outkicking his coverage here.
Definitely, dude. Jill is a fox. She's like, dude, I am so sick of being at the police station every 4 hours because my husband murdered someone.
Can't you just fall in love with a murderer? It happens all the time, okay? Didn't they divorce before all this, right? I mean,
yeah, like when they lost the kid. Well, that's why she's literally like, dude, I've been here, like, I basically have a timeshare here.
It's like, what question haven't you asked me? She seems thirsty, though, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, she's like, any new cop in the force she's interested in. It's a good cop, bad cop. I would love to play good cop, bad cop. That'd be so fun. Which would you rather be?
I would love the idea of us switching throughout and confusing the hell. Like, at first I'm like, hey, man, come on. Like, just here, I'll get you a Sprite. I'll get you some coffee. Well, do whatever he says, man. He's such a jerk. Just make him happy. And then 2 minutes later, you're being nice. I'm screaming at him. He's like, I don't know what's happening anymore. Who do I trust?
This is the dude whose mouth was sewed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking James Blunt with the beanie on.
It was because I always loved. We never got any more Zepp, obviously, and that's why I love that aspect.
So creepy, dude. Him being in Gordon's daughter's closet is like the first time that I remember being in a theater viscerally feeling scared as fuck.
Yeah,
Like as an adult, at least.
that's what I've always found interesting about these movies. I've never fundamentally found them scary in the sense of like feeling nervous throughout. There are scary scenes, don't get me wrong, and it's absolutely a horror. But that's what's so impressive to me about the Saw movies, because I love horror. It's one of my favorite genres. But I've never, afterwards we can talk about it and discuss everything. It's very different than like watching the movie like The Strangers, where you go home and you're laying in bed and just feel like, oh my God, that can happen to me at this point. It's the creativity and the story for me that drives the Saw movies.
Strangers is a whole nother level of fear that I'll never be able to fully articulate. All right, so very, very seedy motel. Did we think that the Saw series takes place in like a sort of like a pseudo Detroit, right?
Yeah, it's like a once blooming economic industrial city that has met a lot of recession and
like a
lots
place
of jobs.
that Batman would work in because there's so many abandoned warehouses. It's like a little ridiculous.
Yep.
But this motel, like you walk in, that dude's obvious at the front was obviously strung out on heroin. I believe, the manager is like a serial rapist, if I remember.
Yeah, he's
right.
a pedophile, I think. Yeah, rapist. I think he is the first victim of Jigsaw's that I have zero sympathy for. I remember that. I'm like,
if he's not the first, he's definitely like the one where I don't feel anything. Like Rip is fucking. And Rig just, I don't know, it still kind of struggles with it, but.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously I don't, wish death upon anyone, even if you're, a criminal or done bad things. That's for the state to decide or, whatever. But, like, in terms of just, like, for me, when it comes to, like, children and rape, I'm like, no, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah, it's tough for me to feel any sympathy for you.
Like, so you're a prostitute and kick some crimes, right? Whatever. Yep, that's right.
What if he's like, dude, I'm kind of digging the pig character. I made up a whole backstory for myself.
But he's like, man, I'm Jewish. Come on, dude. Like, this is not kosher.
I'm a Jewish vegan. Ironic, I know.
I'm a Jewish Muslim vegan. Like, wait. I
keep adding extra layers. I know, right? Let me workshop this. Hang on, let's riff a little bit. Rig, you're really getting too into the community playhouse theater. Look, Jigsaw, I know he's an intellectual. He's an architect. Obviously a very smart man, but she is way too hot for him.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he is, 20 years older than her? I mean, it feels like that. Maybe he just, it's the stress of being a murderer. But he's not actually a murderer. I'm sorry.
One crazy thing about the Saw series, like pretty much everyone in the background here pops up at some point. Also, if you're 8 months pregnant, don't break up a fight at a rehabilitation clinic.
Yeah. Know your situation. This is what changed everything. Like the next, that whole story.
It's true. Jigsaw, like based on his logic, he'd actually blame Cecil for all the murders.
But again, he's never killed anybody. That's my favorite aspect of him. I'm not a murderer. They choose their decisions. They make their own decisions.
Yeah, like they just wake up that day, decide. Scott Patterson is so good at this, though. Like the manipulative douchebag cop, but like there's something endearing about it. You're like, no, keep talking. Go on.
He's like jacked up Jason Lee. I mean, I've always thought
he looks like exactly like I never even realized.
Right? Like.
And they even
keto Jason Lee or something.
He has like lettuce wrap, no bun Jason Lee.
Because I always feel like he looks like he's always seemed familiar to me. Like I see him a lot, but
he's in Gilmore Girls a lot.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because that's not my favorite show.
But Cycle, you have all the DVDs behind you.
No, I bought it to be ironic. Okay.
You spent $78, ironically.
Yeah, man.
Committed to the gag. Oh, God forbid I actually commit to a bit.
See, you're talking about it.
Perfect. This is great. You can murder so many borderline drug addicts here. I know, right? Also, there's a pretty big age difference between. And I know love knows no age, but I mean, Tobin Bell. What's he here, like 65?
Yeah, maybe I cut out, but I said that a little bit ago. I was like, she is what, 20 years younger than him?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
No, that's so sorry. I had to cut out, but yeah, I was like, she is what, 40 and he's 60.
This is what's crazy to me. Look, I love Billy. He's iconic. You never could give that toy to a fucking kid. No parent would let you give that to a child.
I mean, dolls in general are horrifying to me.
Yes. Why are you doing this to me? I don't know. Maybe because you've raped like every child within a mile radius. Okay, well, I mean that makes sense what you're saying. Also, can this guy have a little more professional respect? Like, he's working and he's just wearing a wife beater. It's just lazy.
I mean, I just love the epitome. He's like, hey, we're at a shady motel, so I'm going to sell it. This is what I wear to work.
You know, a lot of people say, dress for the job you have, dress for the job you want. Well, I'm inverting that.
Yeah, this is where I'm like, yeah, bro.
All right. It's a little fucking... Jesus Christ, with like 50 girls? I'm guessing these are all patrons of the hotel.
Yeah, either way, I'm just like, I felt, because everyone else, like, especially in the third one, you know, or the second one, they were gangsters or they were drug addicts. And then the third one, it was a drunk driver and he was taken out on the witness. And look, are they bad people?
And all that.
Yeah. Are they shitty people? Yes. But I'm like, okay, they don't need to die. This is the first person I'm like, fuck, I have zero sympathy. Now, I'm not telling people to go out there and do this.
Yeah, don't blame the Broforce squad if you end up chaining. But this guy, dude, I could see him like somebody comes in and he has like a chick with him and he's like, hey, I'll let you stay for free if you let me abuse and rape that girl. It's like,
yeah, because, you know, he doesn't get any. You know, and he's going to blame it on women not liking him when I'm going to be like, dude, hey, stop wearing a wife beater. Take care of your hygiene. Take a shower. And maybe they'll talk to you.
Why wouldn't they like you? You seem like such an upstanding person.
It's the woman's fault, man.
I'm not the problem, clearly. So he makes him strap himself in?
Yeah.
And again, I think it's the next, because at the very end of this one we find out Hoffman is part of it. So it's the next one we see him like Hoffman set up all these traps, right?
Yeah.
And supposedly in Saw 3, the letter that Amanda reads from Jigsaw it's him telling her about Hoffman, right?
That's right.
You're not even like my favorite apprentice.
Oh, man. That video, like, disturbing. He feels it. Yeah.
I could see, and I think a couple of the Saw movies had this problem. None of them for like this, like graphic, like rape scenes, but the MPAA, I think a couple of times was like, dude, this is NC-17. You got to fucking change this up. We can't even give you R.
They definitely pushed the boundaries. You have to. I mean, you can't have. I mean, it's torture porn for sure, and. You know, I wonder what the boundaries are. I would love to be in the room when they decide the ratings and say, oh, if we had only done this, that would have made it NC-17.
One thing I've always wondered as this horrible scene happens is a good time to sort of divert the discussion. I've always wondered, like, how much back and forth do they get? Like, okay, let's say you send the MPAA, like, your rough cut. Or do you just get sort of like a perpetual, all right, change this. You send it back. Okay, we still need this change. Or do you get like one chance to edit it and they're like, then we're going to rate it. We're not going to give you like 4 or 5.
I think you get as many changes as you want because until it's distributed. Because I know
but I could just
see movies that I've seen that.
I was just going to say, I could see the MPA getting, because obviously like the director is going to try and keep as much of what they filmed in as possible. So like I could see like the MPA sends this back, they cut up like a 4-second scene and they're like, dude, no. What?
No. You cut out the opening introduction.
Okay, well, you weren't specific. No, we were specific. Okay, well, we didn't read it that closely.
Well, if you're like, I was testing to see if you actually watched it. Because I know there have been some movies that, say, oh, it was sent back. It was originally given an NC-17 and then got the R or adjusted. So I know there is some back and forth. But and it would tell you, like, if you ever go abroad or talk to anyone from another country, it's always funny in our sense. If you say the F word, or if you say fuck like 2 or 3 times in a movie, you get an automatic rated R. But violence in this country is kind of, glorified in a sense that we're more worried about sex and naughty words than we are about violence. So I love that. If you said fuck twice, it's rated R. But you can have a whole movie of just torturing and killing people, and you're like, it's fine.
Well, we're prudes. I mean, that's not a surprise to anyone.
As you know, when we were in Europe together, we were watching the local news, and the weather lady had no shirt on. We're like, oh, that's just normal here.
Would the principal or someone not see him shushing this girl? Like,
right.
Let's just look at him. Like a fucking scumbag.
This is the only time I'm all pro police brutality right there. Let's go. Fuck him up. Again, not actually condoning everyone.
I don't know. This old white guy kind of feels like he's untouchable. Jill's been stirring that coffee. You can actually sip that? It's like, well, actually, it's cold now. Can I get another one? This isn't a fucking coffee bean.
It's a little lukewarm, and no one likes either make it cold or make it hot. You just cannot have it in the middle.
Well, that's how coffee is, though, right? It's piping hot for 11 minutes, drinkable temperature for 45 seconds, and then
done. No, I have many times just added a ton of ice to just get cold coffee. This is a scene, honestly, too. Obviously, this is not a Jigsaw trap, but the scene of it we're about to get is one of my hardest to watch.
Yes.
When Cecil comes back in.
Oh, this chick is in Saw 2. She's in the house. She's the drug addict chick.
Yep. Ugh. Yep.
So one of the things,
it's
a little bit of retroactive continuity, but again, you make a series that spans 7 films. It's kind of hard not to do that. But they did mention briefly earlier someone had either a textbook that John had written or a book about him, but he's I think a civil engineer or mechanical engineer.
Yeah, I think he said, yeah.
So that explains probably a lot of the work done on the trash. Well, how the fuck could they get a system like that? God damn it, Cecil.
It's perfect for, again, when you get Dr. Gordon involved, and when you have like you said, civil engineer, and then you get a doctor involved, and it's just it is a perfect concoction of doing what they're able to do. And a cop, obviously.
Cecil. What the fuck? He wants drugs or something that they have in the hospital?
Yeah.
Just leave, Jill.
Fucking.
God damn it.
Yeah, not. I hate that. I hate this so much. And even Cecil, even he is oh, I fucked up. When you get a drug addict to be oh no, I really.
Yeah, if a guy like Cecil's you know what, we made some bad decisions tonight.
And at the time you're you know what, maybe rehab is a good choice.
And John, and again, I mean, your mind goes to a place that I hope that none of us ever have to worry about. But I don't want to say he blames Jill, but he kind of blames Jill, right? If I remember the way he responds to this.
Yeah, because she was trusting and giving to them and always giving them second chances.
And Cecil specifically, she opened the door for him.
First of all, Jigsaw, what kind of father were going to be? You're 800 years old. You got 5 years to give to that kid.
Ugh. But she kind of she's mad at him for something too. I feel I can't really remember.
I think, and understandable in a sense of how many relationships go through like like you read about like all these traumatizing things that happen to couples, like losing a child, going through something, and it makes them like fall out of love, and it's understandable, to be honest with you. Now, I wouldn't say that usually it resorts to one of the partners becoming a murderer, but to each their own.
Well, if you needed a better backstory for like why he believes what he believes, you'd be hard pressed to find one, because he's like, no, you can't help them. Like, you doing them favors, like fucking Cecil. He shows up and kills our unborn child. What we need to do is get them to like the brink of death.
Everyone. What I was about to say, about 10 seconds ago, and this is another compliment to how the filming structure of these films. That transition, they went from Jigsaw back into the police interrogating room, is fantastic. Now, like I said, that was like 20 seconds. But, God, I love it. I love the way they filmed these.
And another thing, too, this is a theme. I know it's in Saw 2. I don't think it's in Saw 3 as much, but it's in obviously this one, and I believe 5, where it's the 5 must become 1. But sort of the cat and mouse of, like, the cops are always just, like, 15 minutes behind,
Yep.
I think it helps with pacing so much, because you're like, this one's even different because we're actually seeing the traps happen right before the cops get there. Whereas in some of the other movies, they're like, we're kind of piecing together things from their point of view. But this one, you just feel the chase. Like,
yeah. Do we? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and again, the thing with Rig, he could walk away at any time. But like you said earlier, the reason he's in the trap he's in is because Jigsaw knows he won't.
I mean, he could literally there's no gun to his head. Like, and the difference is, like, the first one, the second one, and the third one, they had no option but to go. Right? Like, they were literally stuck in their situation.
They're
trapped
literally
in a house.
trapped there. Rig could go get shawarma right now.
Oh, man. I would love a tasty shawarma right now. I actually had a shawarma yesterday. It was so good. But like, for real, like, that's why what I love about this aspect of why this one felt different but still the same was the fact that he literally could have just been like gone to the police station if he wanted and be like, hey guys, this is happening to me right now. I'm being tested by Jigsaw. But he was so obsessed and Jigsaw knew it. And I think it's easy for us in like 2020 vision to be like, oh, well, that's what I would do too. Dude, these people have such specific personalities and obsessive personalities that they would exactly do this. And we all know people who would do exactly this instead of doing what they should do.
Well, the problem, especially with Rig, like, he's seen all his other cops die. So he's like, well, if I die, like, the life he's living, he's like, this is not even that fulfilling. So if I happen to die in pursuit of Jigsaw, then whoops. Like, they're almost kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? They're almost like masochists. He's like, I'm so empty and hollow because of what Jigsaw's taken from me. Let's just fucking end it. Plus, I just lost. The Jaguars didn't cover last weekend, so what kind of life are we preserving?
First of all, why are you betting on the Jaguars to cover? That's your first problem.
It's like they were getting 10.5 points at home. Like, why is Eric Matthews in a prison jumpsuit? I just realized that.
He soiled his other clothes.
He's like, well, I mean, we're going to have to make you look like a prisoner. He's like, well, I have a couple overdue library books. I'm not a saint. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah. Fucking lawyers, man. They're the worst.
Are you also a doctor? You can walk right in, fractured nose, cheekbone.
I forgot that he was... I remember him being the guy in the room, but I forgot his backstory too. I forgot that he was the principal's lawyer.
This guy just looks scummy.
Anytime a lawyer has those pinstripe suits and the massive tie, like, you just like, that's just asking for it, man. You're getting.
We need to wrap up this meeting because I actually have to go fight Dick Tracy in about 15 minutes. But he's a 1940s pulp detective. Yeah, I said what I said. Have you ever, since you actually are a lawyer, have you ever had a meeting with someone that had those suspenders on that Hoffman just had on?
Unfortunately, no.
Damn it.
I would make me so happy.
Otherwise, you walk in like, well, I must already concede, as Obi-Wan would say, the high ground to you.
I will walk in and give them everything. Like, you win. You
We're not really
win.
negotiating from a level playing field here. I don't think this is fair.
I was watching something. Maybe it was a Brooklyn Nine-Nine episode yesterday. They were talking about bringing. Oh yeah, Terry Crews's character was literally talking about trying to bring suspenders back and talking about how belts suck. I was like, I could get on board.
Yeah, to me, like suspenders just seem like we're such a elongated way to keep your pants up compared to a belt.
But for some reason, in wedding photos, they look great.
No, they do look good.
Yeah,
If we're just talking pure function, it's like we're bringing so many other
absolutely.
places involved.
But in today's society, that's the only time you see them is weddings.
And they look good. I won't disagree
Yeah.
at all. All right, I'm gonna go pee. So you keep this thing afloat for like a minute and a half.
I'm rooting for it. A minute and a half, P. That's big time, man.
Well, I might grab a beer too. I don't so
Okay.
soon. Jesus.
I just wish I had a bladder that I could pay for a minute and a half. Okay, so this one to me, I don't know. Again, I think he has some easy choices throughout this whole thing. Obviously, he's determined to go and do what Jigsaw wants from him, but this is another one where I felt like it was an interesting trap where the principal's obviously a scummy fucking child predator. But then you get the twist that the wife was aware the whole time of what her husband was. But, I mean, I think it drives a real conversation in the sense of, was she a victim too? Was she scared of him? What power did she have? And it does drive a dialogue, which is crazy that a horror franchise, of all franchises, give you, conversations that lead to this kind of thing. We're saying, do you sympathize with someone who feels a victim to a predator when they maybe could have done something to prevent it? So I don't know where I stand, to be honest. I don't feel that much sympathy to her, but it's hard to say what I would feel in her situation. And this is also a very, very shitty way to go. Long and drawn out. Ugh. Now, if I'm her, just fucking kill him. What does he offer you, right? How much love do you have for someone who's been abusing you this whole time? I do appreciate that she actually shows she does show some strength here. And that's probably the first one I would go for. Ugh. No. I don't know about you guys, but I do not do well in things pointing in, coming in and out. Fuck.
This is the one where they're all set up on specific pressure points, right?
Yeah. Yep. So that's right.
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of this. So she can take them out, but they'll kill him, right?
Yeah. So what I was talking about to myself was, I said this, like, I appreciate the dialogue, these movies of all horror franchises that, like, she's obviously a victim of her husband,
right,
in terms of abuse, but she also was aware of what person he was. And I was like, I feel sympathetic to her, but I also don't at the same time. And I just love that a movie like this drives that.
So what is what is Jigsaw's instructions to him? Does he just have to watch? And
I think we're about to find out. Yeah.
Do you think Jigsaw, like with the tape recorder budget, he's like tells Amanda and Hoffman, he's like, look, I need you guys to bring these back afterwards. We're not made of money. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Also, honestly, how many takes does he do?
I feel like he's really efficient there.
I mean, we all send Snapchat, so like, how many times do you reshoot it?
He's like, oh, come on, Jigsaw.
I go,
unique.
I'm now brown cow.
Unique New York. Blah blah blah.
There's no, he got it in one take one time, and he was so fucking pumped about it.
But
he realized he didn't record it.
Let's give me some options, though. Let's do a few more just in case. I think we got it there, but. So this is the school where that guy is the principal, right?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
And actually, if I remember right, I think it's Saw 3. Is it Saw 3 where that dude is like chained up and has to rip the chains out of his skin in the school?
Yeah. I think that's the beginning of Saw 3 or 2. Yeah, it's 3. It's 3 because it's when Amanda didn't give him a fair chance.
Oh yeah, that's right. Classic Amanda.
Fucking Amanda.
It's kind of her problem. You know what's weird? So the actress who plays Amanda, let me look it up real quick as I plug in my laptop. Another weird thing about this, like even Tobin Bell, who plays Jigsaw, incredibly talented actor, might have been typecast, but I haven't really seen him in anything else.
By the way, really quick about Tobin Bell, because like we said, we were filming this in early summer, and we've been in quarantine. I just rewatched all of Seinfeld, and Tobin Bell is actually in a Seinfeld episode, and he's yelling at George. Yeah, he yells at George.
I vaguely remember that. So Shawnee Smith plays Amanda, and I actually think she might be in Seinfeld briefly too, but she was on the show Becker with Ted Danson a lot.
Oh, I remember. I never watched Becker, but I remember that being a thing.
Yeah, she was probably in. I can look it up exactly. What year would you think Becker was?
Early 2000s. No basis in that.
She was in a. You're right. It was from '98 to 04, so pretty much that exact time. She was in 129 episodes of Becker.
Oh, there were that many. See, that's the thing. I never saw that show, but I remember it being decently, popular.
I mean, that's got to be like every episode of Becker, right? Oh, right, like, fuck, that was an intern. That was definitely an intern.
Yeah. For any show, as we know, for any show to get to the 100 episodes, that's a major deal. So Becker did it. Good for that. I have no idea what Becker's about, to be honest.
When our podcast hit 100 episodes, how much money did we make just on syndication rights now?
Oh my God, like that 34 cents. It was crazy. That was a crazy night.
Hey, I like to brag about numbers, but the party we had that night.
Wait, you guys had a party? I wasn't there. What the fuck? Brian
No.
told me, Banner said you guys weren't celebrating.
It was a private. It was like a religious.
Oh, okay. Oh, really? Okay, yeah, I see. Okay.
Actually,
okay, I'm not mad.
I know why we didn't invite you. We had guac, and I know you don't like avocado.
Oh, yeah. No, that makes sense. Okay, I understand.
Okay, if I was
the detail.
Any room that ever had this, I would be like, guys, I don't care what the fuck we're getting paid. There's a doll. There's a seance. This is Satan. He's in this room right now. Like, what are we doing?
But again, I love it. It's like what we just said about the recording. When you're setting this up, do you close the door and like double check it? Like, is it good enough? I don't know. Oh, maybe I'll move this. The angle isn't good. Maybe add another candle.
It's almost like a director. Like, you need the studio to take the movie from you at some point because you'll always be trying to make small edits.
Yeah.
It'll never be good enough.
And you don't want to be surrounded by yes men. You don't want to be George Lucas on the prequels.
This was the one where I remember getting really pumped hearing this one. Hang on. Oh, I remember. Yeah, she gets.
Oh yeah, come on.
Gasses her. You know what's crazy? I think we might have talked about this on the Home Alone movie commentary. Check that one out.
Which, by the way, uncle.
We still need to do the second one, but the tape recorder he has in the second one, they actually turned into like a huge marketing tool. I had it. Did you ever have the tape recorder?
I had one, but I had the Red Ranger Power Ranger logo coin on it. It was so badass.
Damn. Could yours so the Home Alone 2 one, as Agent Perez dies in front of us.
Yeah, of course.
The Home Alone 2 one, you could like slow down your recording. So you did the Power Ranger one have like a feature?
Maybe I think so. Like I remember using it to like, because I was like 8 years old, I would use it to like spy on my sister.
Nice.
And it obviously resorted in nothing. I ended up recording her for 30 minutes, practicing the piano and being like, what am I doing with my life?
Like, you could have just sat there and listened to it. No one's really keeping you.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, I'm going to catch her doing something bad and turn her in.
But Jigsaw, I mean, in the Saw movies, I feel like there was some marketing. Again, I know that like the demo that watches this movie doesn't exactly buy merchandise, but they could have done something with his like tape recorders.
What the fuck are you saying about Saw fans? You're saying they don't buy merchandise, huh? Calling us out.
Prove me wrong.
You poor fox.
Dude, honestly, okay, let's be real, though. If you're Donnie Wahlberg, and I'm not going to sit here and act like this guy, like, it gets to pick his roles that selectively, but your work on this movie, and I know it's only a 32-day shoot in total, but all you do is show up. He has hardly any dialogue. You're pretending to be choked. I mean, this scene looks miserable.
I honestly want nothing more than to find out how much people get paid for certain scenes. When I'm watching movies and an actor has a cameo and he's in there for 5 seconds, I'm like, how much did they get paid for that? Honestly. Right. And how much did his filming was probably like, what, 3 or 4 days max? Because he's doing the same thing the whole time.
Well, the way this stuff is shot, like, they probably do their they probably don't even do their blocking. They're like, hey, man, show up. We're going to have 4 cameras on you. We're going to get a couple takes. So they don't even do this. They don't do the stuff where a guy comes in and they're like, the cinematographer will work with you for 4 or 5 takes. Donnie Wahlberg's like, I don't know if you know this, but New Kids on the Block has about 11 casinos that we need to tour in the South.
I literally thought you were about to say New Kids on the Block have a bunch of hits. Chinese food makes me sick. And I think it's why.
Hey, we can joke, summer. But Summertime by them is a fucking banger.
It's the first time I heard about Abercrombie and Fitch, and all of a sudden everyone was wearing Abercrombie and Fitch after that.
I thought that was LFO that sings that song.
Is it not LFO? I don't know. It's
LFO. Okay, so we're both right. It's LFO, but they're singing about New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, they say New Kids on the Block had a bunch of hits. Chinese food makes me sick.
Also, there's a sexual tension right now between Jill and Strom that you could cut with a butter knife.
And she acts like she doesn't like it, but she totally is into it.
That's your stick, dude. Like, everybody sees through it.
Is there only one lawyer in this town?
He's pretty busy.
Like, why is she using the same lawyer the principal used?
Yeah, is he like her divorce lawyer or what?
Yeah. Or did she drag him?
You didn't see him sitting in the chair right in front of you?
Oh, hey, you come here. You're a hero? What's up? So, yeah, it is her lawyer. I'm assuming. I mean, it's been a little bit since I've seen it. And impressive work for this guy to be, and as a lawyer I can say this, to be crim defense, as we saw him a few scenes earlier, to be a defense attorney, and now he's a divorce attorney.
Well, Cycly, if I can go back to our good friend Brendan Steer, writer-director of Velocipaster.
Of course.
What is the main character meets that chick, and what is her law degree in? Pre-med law.
Pre-med law, yeah.
Okay. I mean, you act like you can't get a versatile degree.
Absolutely.
If she can be pre-med law and a prostitute.
Who am I to question this?
Did we ever ask him about that? I don't think we got.
I don't think so.
We had so many questions. I was like, "What is?"
I think we both had 20 questions like ourselves, and we knew we could probably only get 8.
And he was so cool, dude. He probably would have talked to us for another hour. But
yeah,
you go.
My favorite thing about that is if you haven't seen Velocipaster, watch it. But we ended up having a conversation with him for so long. He actually had a Q&A session with the movie that night that he actually slept through. And we kind of felt guilty. We don't know if it was our fault.
I think it kind of was. I remember us texting the other day, and I was like, nice Gordon reference here. Is this the actual footage? Not the scene of him with the steel bar, but where he's sitting in the car? I think that's from the flashback in the first one.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it is.
So the cancer diagnosis happens after she loses the baby, right?
And then he tries to kill himself. So he's lost a baby that he was 80 years older than, and then he gets cancer. I mean, she looks good, man. Like, look at this outfit. Yeah.
Okay, so I was kind of talking over, and by kind of I mean completely, but the lawyer and John are business partners in some big real estate deal. And are all those buildings that end up being undeveloped? Again, I feel like they have done a pretty good job of covering their bases, because are those like the buildings that he ends up trapping like Tap and Sing in the beginning?
Yeah.
So he has like a nice knowledge of the inner workings of the architecture and everything.
That's right. Yeah. And again, another impressive dot on the resume for that lawyer. So he's now a business transaction lawyer, criminal defense, and divorce. So what can't this guy do? I can't wait to see his commercials.
Wait, Cecil smokes? I thought he was totally sober.
No, man. Come on. He should know smoking is bad for him.
At least get the gum, you know?
See, I love that we're watching. We just missed it, but like he's listening to his recordings. He's slowing it down.
He's like, let me add the bass line.
Yeah. Like
Dear
good
Slim.
old bass on, yeah, I was
Dear
just about to make
Mister,
that
I'm
exact
too good to write you back. I'm like, what?
I can't get no snare in my headphones.
He's like, if we put a little Dida behind this would fucking bump.
He fucking stole a chess piece and acts like he's gonna make money off that.
He gets so into like remixing that he's actually like, dude, fuck the Jigsaw thing. I could just be a producer. The Detroit rap scene, like, it's just fucking ripe for the pick.
I can make this happen. Absolutely. Fucking Pigmask, we get the origination.
Yep. There's the chlorophyll in there, right?
Yep.
I mean, we can't rewind it because it's a commentary, but right after he drugged Cecil, the happiest middle-aged Asian woman in your life.
What was that scene? I don't remember that at all. What was the purpose of that cut?
Again, when you only have 32 days to film, here's the crazy thing. 32 days to film this. That means they need to get multiple scenes in per day, which is kind of crazy. What do you think this is? Like
exactly.
105 scenes, probably?
That's an impressive workload, honestly.
You almost have to have a second unit director that's like doing more than just plates.
They probably do. Yeah, they would have to. I mean, the thing with these movies, though, I feel like they probably just film a ton, and they just have a generic way to go, and then it's all about the post-production.
I did read post-production took 2 months. So
Yeah.
like you said, it's probably like, hey, like just get us as much footage as you can and we'll fucking figure it out. You and I know from our talent show video, you can do amazing things in the edit room.
I mean, it was all us.
That's true.
What I respect about this scene, and what I enjoy about it. This is the first trap, right? This is the first trap we're seeing ever.
Yeah.
And we see it as a very human trap. He makes errors. He does not make it as strong as he should have.
Which is great, too. And obviously, he's working out his methodology. Like, maybe in his head, he was like, every time I trap these people, I'll be sitting here talking to them, too. You know?
Yeah.
Words like,
and then he realized...
Yep. Oh, sorry, I was going to say, you might have said the same thing. He realized, like, they need to figure this stuff out for themselves.
Well, I was also thinking he might come to a realization, too, that, oh, fuck, they can get out of this. And I can't be sitting here talking to them. Because if they're strong enough to get out of it, they might be strong enough to get me because I'm 800,000 years old.
I feel like he's getting older every time, though. I did read these knives were made out of wood.
Oh, interesting.
Which this is a tough effect because as he's trying to push his face through them, they'd have the blood that comes out, which I don't know how they even pull that off.
So this is obviously me just making shit up. I feel like obviously you'd come out scarred and you'd come out fucked up, but I feel like you could do this, or we could do this. It would be terrible.
Man,
but
this
of all
is a tough one.
Of all of the traps, you just have to go as fast as you can and not think about it, and it would be horrifying. I'm not saying that, but if you just go, I don't know. I mean, I'm saying this.
Yeah, I'd have to analyze this one a little bit. This one though, there's really no time constraint, right? Like. His wrists only bleed when he moves, correct?
Yeah. But how long can you not move, I guess, yeah. But you can't do this one slow. I guess that's my biggest point.
Man.
Like, just fucking go. It will be awful and you'll have scars for life. But to save your own life, I think I could do it. So now, don't test me. Please don't test me on this.
Someone at home's like, Cycly, don't worry. We'll figure this out.
I will call you out.
Another thing I was wondering, I think it's the first Saw, they sing I think it's tap. Which one's Danny Glover? Tap. He talks about how Jigsaw always watches.
He's going too slow, bro.
Yeah, that's the problem. He talks about how Jigsaw always watches his victims.
Yep.
But I think and this isn't a plot hole because Tap has been dead, presumably, although his fate supposedly is tied up in the video game which I still am interested in reading more about. But I digress. As he gets Hoffman and Amanda involved, like all those ones in like the hotel with Rig and that, like they're not watching. Do they count Rig as basically like there's always eyes on the person is the point? Right?
Yeah. Ugh. There should be, yeah, because there was always, that was their clue originally when they finally first realized it was the same person, was like they always found that hole. Oh, fuck that.
Jesus. Ooh. Razor wire.
Yeah, see, that would suck.
It's a tough way to go. It is a tough way to go.
But he's going to be like, I didn't murder him. He tripped and fell into that.
It's like, I hate to do this. I spilt beer all on my shirt, so I'm going to have to do the rest of this movie shirtless.
Oh my God. You talk about a dream come true.
Right?
This is what I've always
The listeners at home are like, thank God this is not a video podcast.
I'm just more curious how you did that.
So I had just opened a brand new beer, and we were so into the movie. I was thinking it was my old beer that like, very, very empty. And as I brought it to my mouth, how does Brian Banner do this all the time, pod shirtless? I feel very weird.
You're very aware of yourself.
I don't want to. I mean, as a lawyer, you're probably on my side. How can they keep Jill here this long?
Like, if they're not detaining her, I didn't see how like they just questioning her, because if she's not being detained, she has the right to go whenever she wants.
Well, and to her point, why did they go grab her anyway? She's like, guys, I've been here 1,000,000 times. You have 100 hours of interrogation.
Yeah, if they think she has information like to like save a life or something like that, they can only hold her. They have to have reasonable like cause here, but they can say, oh, if they can prove it, they only have a limited time to prove it though. So I don't know how much time has gone by.
Gideon, was that going to be the name of their child?
Ooh, I don't know.
So I've always wondered, Billy the puppet, does he call the puppet Billy because that was going to be their kid's name? Or was that just like the pet name they have given it? Obviously, it was going to be
I feel I've watched these movies too many times and I know that. I feel like there is a direct answer to why it's named. I mean, maybe you missed it in this movie. Fuck.
So one thing, we brought this up probably in the first 3 Saw commentaries. The great thing they do, this isn't even the third act right here. We're in the last 10 minutes. The score starts to sort of like,
oh my God,
the background build, not the main score, the one that we all cum our pants over, but like, you and I just sort of inherently, you kind of lean forward in your chair a little bit. You're like, yo, this is where Saw makes their money.
I was just supposed to say the exact same thing. Like, you can tell everyone kind of reshifts their chair, sits a little more straight, and they know what's going on because they know they're in for whatever the story is. Something's about to change, and as much as you've been paying attention, you miss something.
And it's weird because pacing-wise, I feel like all these movies slow down a lot in the second act and even the beginning of the third act. But again, like that last 10 minutes, it's something that all the directors have been able to sort of uniformly. Oh, God. And now that knowing the twist, this looks exactly
Here we
like
go.
Yep. Yeah.
This is be a perfect time to get the sync of the third and fourth one together.
Mm-hmm. So that's the clue that Jeff finds when he wakes up, right, in that box?
Yeah.
Because didn't you
and we still don't know it.
Well, you and I talked about if Saw 3 would have lasted literally 10 seconds longer, it would have made no sense. 3 people would have burst in the room. You would have been like, who the fuck are you?
Yep. Exactly. That's why I'm glad, like, when you said that at the beginning of this commentary, that they almost ended episode 3, Saw 3 with the autopsy. I'm like, it would have fast forwarded. It would have skipped over the ending of this movie. So,
yeah.
I think they made the right decision. And what I love about this, and we think we're going to get a twist to this movie. We don't realize we're about to get a twist to 2 movies, which is such persistence that you can't get anywhere else. I mean, like, how can you do that? What if you hadn't seen Saw 3? I mean, that's a big risk.
Yeah. Very, very much so. And I think for you and I always try to think like, okay, when you and I saw this in theaters, like what were we thinking at this point? And I think when I saw the last one, like Judge as I Judge, I was thinking, okay, that was Jeff from Saw 3, but we're not at all thinking this is happening concurrent to those events, you know?
Yep.
I'm like, oh, okay, they found like the warehouse from the last one. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. No, I feel like we're still thinking this is months later.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, what we have zero reason. Obviously, there are hints now, but when you're watching this for the first time, there's zero reason to understand what's happening.
And then we see, I want to say the guy's name is Art Blank, this lawyer, but that's the owner of the Falcons. So it's probably
it's definitely
it could be. I don't know. It could be him. He's like, look, I have the draft in 3 weeks. I have to work on, so if we could fucking get this over.
Yeah, and now we get his tape. I think it's bullshit. I'm like, again, because we realize this isn't Jigsaw anymore. He won his first test, and now he has to do another.
Right.
And then I remember, okay, you and I are sitting next to each other, and all of a sudden Jeff shows up, and we're like, what the fuck? Are they just doing one of their random flashbacks?
Yeah.
You still don't even realize it.
Because I think they're trying. This is where I'm like, they're trying to tell us, like, hey, this hallway that Hoffman's walking down, this is where Jeff was last movie.
This is the same place. You are not realizing that this is happening at the same time. Fucking mad respect. It takes whatever you think of these movies, whether they're poorly written, low budget, poor acted. This takes so much creativity to come up with this shit.
Well, the one thing I like about this twist too is that, and again, this sometimes could be annoying, but they didn't put all their eggs in the timeline basket. Like Hoffman being involved is a pretty big twist too. But I actually don't give a fuck really about that when I see the timeline twist, because to me that's
no. But I mean, is there ever been a timeline twist in a sequel? Because, like I said, I already said this, but I have to reiterate it because I respect it so much. That it's a big risk. Even if you saw 3 once, you are giving it to a fan base that you're hoping they remember. Not every, especially when it's a movie that comes out once a year.
So I think right now you and I kind of figured out what was going on. We were like, holy shit.
I think we started freaking out here. Yeah.
So I can't even remember. In Saw 3, are there cops hunting, looking for Lynn Denlin being missing? Or she's gone for such a short period. Like, she got kidnapped from the night shift and probably dies at like 5 a.m., right?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're exactly right. Or if we do, we don't see it, even if it is happening. I remember watching this and still being like, wait, what is happening? Are they just trying to throw me off?
Okay, so how does Amanda die again? Does Jeff shoots her, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's when the door closes automatically because Jeff did what he fucked up.
Yeah.
And is Rig in the same place, just like a different
area? Yeah. These buildings were massive. They kept showing it throughout the movie, is how massive these industrial buildings were. Ugh.
Yeah, this is where Rig just... Oh, this death.
Oh, fuck. You know what's happening.
Honestly, dude, I've been hungover and had headaches that felt like that.
Honestly, that's probably the best way to die because...
It truly is. You don't even know what's happening.
You're gone. You're gone. If I'm dying like that, I just want to go fast. It's the long ones, the drawn-out ones that I hate.
This is the daughter, right?
Yeah. Oh, no, not yet. Not yet. Because now he's in the room. He's about to find the daughter. See, this is 10 seconds. Ugh.
And if you're Jeff, I mean, I kind of don't blame you. The night you've had, I would think that guy's involved too.
Yeah, absolutely. But I thought that's what your point was. If this movie lasted 10 seconds longer, Saw 3, then you would have gotten that scene.
You've been so confused. It does kind of suck for Jeff too, because like he spends the whole... basically, like, he's looking for a way to get his daughter out the whole night, and I know he fucks up at the end, but, like, really just, there's really no reason Strom and him should have had that interaction. He should have been able to see his daughter, but everybody just...
And it goes back to the whole, like, Jigsaw acts, he thinks he's a good person. I love that. He's fucking testing you, and he just...
Is the... the bells right now?
Yep.
God damn it.
Still, maybe one of the top. I mean, it is a top.
I don't think you
top
can
list.
overrate it, dude. If you want to talk about a score that elicits an emotion, I'll put this ahead of like the Superman theme and probably even like Indiana Jones, because those are.
To me, it is up there with the Lord of the Rings, the Star Wars, the Harry Potters. Like, I'm not saying they're equal in movies, but in terms of what the main themes, have the power of them, and what they give to the viewer, it is incredible.
It's insane, and the way it slowly builds.
Yeah, and then I always love this is a tradition. They always keep going, like the recap, and then you're sitting here watching the recap, and you're like, oh, how the fuck did I not get this?
It's so cool because it shows you the movie basically in hindsight, where it's like all the little things you missed make sense at the end.
And then and you're like, wait, he's alive, and you still don't even. Oh, and then you're like, oh no, he's the bad guy now.
And if we're being honest, this is them like setting up the next 3 movies, which it's totally fine. But the timeline twist was so fucking cool that the Hoffman thing I'm interested in, but I was like, I'm still so blown away by what you guys just did with time that I can't even wrap my head around this.
Yep, that's what makes it. You're completely right. And they do with Hoffman. They go a couple more movies, but we still technically have 3/4 more movies after this.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really leave the Jigsaw timeline like too much. Like Jigsaw, Tobin Bell is still the main villain, and you could understand if they just kept the franchise going and there's a new guy, but he's in every single movie, and whether they're great or not, that's a different conversation. You have to respect that.
Oh, I just realized. Okay, so when the pig mask is hanging up behind him, we originally think that he's being kidnapped by the pig.
Mm-hmm.
In that shot, okay.
But but it wasn't the case. Yeah.
Yeah, Rig bleeds out.
Yeah, and then then Hoffman goes to the other side of the building. Because he doesn't know. That's kind of why he has that look. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know what's transpired.
Well, yeah, if I remember right, Saw 5 in the beginning. Fuck. What's the one where he ends up in the glass case?
It's the fifth. It's the next one.
It is the 5th one?
I think.
Okay, because that's how he kills Strom. Strom he didn't see him physically close the door. Because the 5th one, Strom gets out.
Yeah.
But he's very suspicious of Hoffman the whole time, if I remember right.
It might be, I can't remember if it's 5 or 6, but fuck. I love it. Like, I love it. He's dead the whole movie.
And you're right, man. I'm so glad they never went paranormal. They never went, like, twin. I mean, there's so many bad options. Low-hanging fruit they could have taken. And you and I, each year, were so... Because this was before you could, like, really research a movie before you saw it. We were so worried they would do that, and they didn't.
I mean, how many horror franchises did... Like, even the original Halloween. That, like, we talked about on Halloween. Halloween 2 or 3 goes, like, weird. Like, witches are involved. And
the third Halloween, it's like masks possess people.
Yeah, like, people don't talk about it anymore because it's so ridiculous. But people... That's what happened to these franchises, that... They were making money, and so they just kept it going without any idea. And I mean, again, we can talk about the conversation of how Saw maybe went a little too long or whatever. But you know what? Again, I'll say this over and over again. I will give them $7 every time to just watch it. I don't give a fuck. It's worth it. It's entertaining.
Yeah, you and I always said we're Saw heads. You put a movie out, we'll go see it. So that is Saw 4. Cyclically, we continue our tradition every Halloween of doing another Saw. Now that we've had... So this is, I think, a definitive point in the franchise, right? The first 4 movies are sort of like one chapter, because Jigsaw, because 3 and 4 are concurrent, he's definitively gone now. This is probably the first half of it. How do you evaluate these now, 15 years later?
So... I still feel like the first 4, and again, this redeemed 3. I think that was, you and I had that conversation when we left the theater when we, 12 years ago or whatever this was. and we said how much more we respected Saw 3. I rewatched, Saw 5, 6, and 7. I remember being, still enjoying them. I did a rewatch a few years ago, and I remember, I think I texted you. I was like, you know what? Saw 5, 6, and 7 are a lot better than I remember.
Yeah?
And it was kind of one of those things that I was like, I don't know. I feel like Saw 4 is probably a perfect ending. This would have been a great ending, but they weren't going to do it. They were making too much money. I don't know. I just feel genuinely like there's not a lot of franchises that did what Saw did. And so I respect it, and I know it's not going to win everyone over. It's not, but this was probably the peak, though. This was the peak. I don't think we get anything as good afterwards.
Yeah, you're right. Although I don't think it dips, like it's not like the bell curve drops too low at the end. But yeah, this is, I guess now that Jigsaw came out, and we're not going to get Spiral this year, unfortunately. But this is the halfway point.
Yeah.
So we're 50% of the way there.
I can tell you really quickly, I did not think we were going to get 3 or 4 movies after watching this one.
No, I actually want to go look at the box, because I think the reason this franchise could continue is that they just don't cost a lot of money to make.
No.
So it's really, really hard for them, almost impossible to lose money.
I'm pretty sure I'm not basing this off anything. This is just memory. Pretty sure the first one only cost like $1 or $2 million and made $100 million. That in itself paid for the rest of the movies.
Yeah, basically.
Right. So who cares?
Break even or lose like $4 or $5 million for the next 4 films, and you'd still be.
Yeah. I don't think, and this is probably something we'll talk about next time, I don't think any of the movies lost money ever. They might not have made much, maybe $1 million or $2 million. But yeah. But anyway.
I think, no surprise, Jigsaw probably had the highest budget, but I remember thinking you clearly don't need to do that. Are we just gratuitously spending money?
Yeah. I will take a original Saw and that at that budget over and over again. If you give me that kind of quality.
Yeah, I don't need to see lasers, which we eventually see. I won't tell you which movie. All right, for our legal counsel, Ronnie Cycli, I'm the mayor, Jeff Hornacek. We are the Bro Force Squad podcast. Thank you guys for checking us out. Happy Halloween. We'll see you next Halloween for Saw 5. Until then, type in Bro Force Squad as 3 separate words on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and Letterboxd. You'll find us there. Follow us on Twitter at Bro Force Squad, and check out our website, broforcesquad.com. Till next time, we want to play a game. Does he say that in this movie?
I don't know. I don't know, actually. How did we miss that?